We have Susan Retz on today with Practical Shamanism. And Susan explains it this way. She says, practical shamanism is about making one's life work smoothly in sync with universal forces. Most people imagine shamanism as weird magic filled with animal bones and hallucinogenic experiences. But Susan says an aspect of this that's often overlooked is that shamanism is all about making one's life work more smoothly and in sync with universal forces. So this week's guest, Susan Retz, will tell us how she has used shamanism to fix a lawnmower, find lost items, change the feeling of a space, change a personal emotion, shed what no longer is needed, and make shifts in life direction. I will say before we bring her on to the show that my first introduction to shamanism was a book a long time ago that I read called The Teachings of Don Juan. And it was my favorite book at the time. And I just it was probably the first time that I began to focus that there may be another dimension, that many of the peyote fests and the things that the celebration of the Sundance and things was about was seeming to bring in all of the spiritual connection in sync with the universe. But now we are going to find a way to put out all of the connotations with the peyote and with the bones, and today look at it in a practical way. So, Susan Retz, are you there?
I am here, Anne Marie, and thank you for having me on your program today.
You're welcome. I want to tell everybody that I met Susan at a healer's party. Unfortunately, I was the only healer there that was getting sick with food poisoning. But Susan was a doll, and she was, and we'd started talking, and I was fascinated with what she was doing and the things that she was saying about this. So I guess the first thing that I will ask you, Susan, is there any website or any kind of, first of all, place where people can contact you if they want to know more about this or interview you?
If they'd like to interview me, what I recommend is that they just drop me an email at this point in time, and that would be at suzfree@yahoo.com. That's S-U-Z as in zebra, F as in Frank, R-E-E. at yahoo.com. And I would also recommend another website that is the website of my shamanic teacher, Angela Wheat. She has a wonderful website that is at www.shamanicconsciousness.com. And you can learn a lot about shamanism from that website also. And later on, I can refer you to a couple of books if you would like to have a little bit more information for your readers from that, Anne-Marie.
Absolutely. So tell me, how did you get interested in this, Susan, and how does it apply to, let's say, the lives of those that are feeling like they need a change or want to change the space or the energy around them? Tell us how, what were you experiencing at the time when you got into practical shamanism?
Well, I'll tell you, my first exposure to shamanism was probably about at the same time as yours, Anne-Marie, and it was the very same book, the Don Juan book
really?
by Carlos Castaneda.
Yeah.
And I was absolutely intrigued by them, read every one, several times over, and then just sort of didn't really see a link to how that could be, how I'm not going to go to Mexico and probably meet a shaman just by wandering around down there. So I was intrigued, but I just really didn't know where to go with it from there. So, within the past year, I actually work at a healing center, and we had a gathering of healers who decided we wanted to bring a shaman to us to instruct us in some of the teachings and the rituals, and that was how I got involved. The reason I got involved was really all about wanting. I've been, searching for years at a way to link the physical and the spiritual aspects of life. And I have not, up until this point, come to a place where I found a practice or a belief system that seemed to really have a tangible link to the two concurrently. So I was still searching for that connection, and I found that in shamanism and shamanistic practices. And I have been more and more excited the more that I've learned about shamanism and the more I've experienced and grown into it. It's definitely a very practical application for life, and it's really one of the most effective self-healing approaches that I've ever come across, both from a physical standpoint and an energetic and spiritual standpoint.
Now, you don't have to go into peyote. You don't have to drink
No.
jars of peyote, and you
No.
don't need to hang yourself from your breast from the teepee
Nothing.
in the middle and dangle.
Nothing of the sort. Although
nothing of the sort.
Right. Thank goodness for that, because I really have a low pain tolerance.
But how then can you say that perhaps someone that's skeptical about the magical properties can incorporate that in the word practical?
And I'm not sure that this is a direct answer to your question, Anne Marie, but what I have found is that partially skepticism is the most difficult, and not even skepticism, but an unwillingness to be open to. Skepticism it would not disallow you to experiencing the energetic components that are available through shamanism, because I have to say I was a skeptic of some level. I'm a pragmatist, and I want to see it to believe it. And as long as you are open to that possibility, it's amazing what can unfold to you. And we were talking about practical applications of shamanism. I think one of the most exciting parts that came to me was the day I fixed my lawnmower, or diagnosed a problem with my riding lawnmower, using some of the energetic practices and tools that I had learned from some of my shamanistic studies. And was very simple, actually. With shamanism, the absolute most basic premise is that everything on this earth, all beings, all creatures, all rocks, all trees, all streams, everything in the universe has an energetic component to it that we all share in. You think of the rock dropping into the water with the ripples. That's the same component. I can't do something that on some energetic level doesn't affect every other being in the universe. And the same is true of all of us. With that premise, the idea that we're all energy and all linked leads us to another way of communicating and instituting change, which was very intriguing to me. So I decided I would try it on something very tangible. The practice that I am with is from the Andes. This is Cuero Shamanism, and it started with the Incas and has been preserved high in the Andes during the Spanish conquest. There was a small group of people who escaped the Spanish and were so remote, basically, that they were able to protect their practices. Well, you can imagine when you're living above 14,000 feet, you are eking out an existence a lot of times, and if something doesn't have a practical application in keeping you alive or improving your life, it probably isn't worth much to you, whether it's a spiritual practice or not. You know, they did not have the luxury of having esoteric spiritual practices. They had to work for them. So with that practical component in mind, one of the ways of sensing energy and working with energy, which I'm sure you and a lot of your listeners are familiar with, is using a pendulum to sense, to get a read, essentially. It's kind of like dowsing. You know, there's many different ways to do that, but essentially I was having troubles with my lawnmower, and I just didn't want to pay $100 to get it fixed or whatever. I kind of like a challenge, so I thought, well, I'm going to try to do this myself. And I think it would be fun to try diagnosing with my pendulum. So I started from the ignition key and just started following the wires through the lawnmower and into the different parts of the mower. And as I moved from part to part, I just asked, is this the part that has the problem? And my reading back was no, 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 no. And I came around the bend and came to this little black thing that I didn't know what it was. And I asked, is this a problem? And the pendulum responded positively that it was. So I'm like, okay, well, it doesn't look like a very big part and probably isn't, you know, what do I have to lose? I'll look it up in the little owner's manual and see what it is and see if I can order a new one. And it was a thing called a solenoid, which I promptly took to my supply store and got a new one. And $15 later, I put it into my lawnmower and hooked everything back up, and boom, the thing started right up.
Well, that's an amazing story. You were taking a chance, girl.
I was,
and I mean,
but
that is so cool. And so today, if we do some readings, will you be using your pendulum?
I may be doing that. I also can do some sensing the other way, but I think the pendulum sounds like an excellent way since we sort of introduced that idea.
Yeah, and I don't think we've ever had a reader that used a pendulum to do readings.
Okay.
Plus, you can use your sense. I do want to say we have Ashish from California, Jan from LA. We have Chris from Tennessee, Rish from Iowa. We have Dana. And no, not Dana. Dana's from another show. We have Cindy, who is going through some past life issues with her daughter. And so, you know, a lot of things I want to tell you people that since our show is about shamanism, we will be answering questions in a way that also connects with the topic. So whatever is being answered in your life today will be on topic. I wanted to first you said you may have a small meditation for us. Would you
Yes,
have
I
that?
do. I do have
All
that.
right. Well, let's
And
play a little bit of music, and then I'm going to. Should we try the red-tailed hawk a little bit more, and then go into the meditation?
yes,
Okay.
and okay, let's go.
Yeah. Are you ready?
All right. I'm ready. What we are going to start with our meditation is an energy practice that almost every shaman uses before starting work or affecting change from an energetic level, and it's called opening sacred space. When we open sacred space, we will basically be acknowledging the four directions and their special characteristics and helps that they can provide in our lives, and asking them to join their forces to help us work with the energy that lies within the universe. So first, I would like you to start and place an intention in your heart that you would like to address today. It can be something that you've been working with for a long time, or it can be something as simple as being open to any messages that may come to you today. Now, once you have that intention set, we're going to start, in my tradition, to the direction of the south. The south is the direction of the great serpent, Sachumama, and she is mother of the waters. So we'll begin. And we call first with our rattle, and we thank her for coming. And we call to the winds of the south, Sachumama, mother of the waters. Come, mother sister, and wrap your coils of light around us. Teach us to shed our past and our programming the way you shed your skin, and show us to walk softly on the belly of the mother. Winds of the south, blow through us now. Ho! And now we internally change directions to face the west. The west is the direction of the jaguar. To the winds of the west, Otorongo, jaguar. Come, mother sister, from your place beyond the rainbow bridge, and teach us to see beyond death. Show us how to walk with impeccability the way of the luminous warrior, and protect this medicine space. Winds of the west, blow through us now. Ho! And now we move to the north. To the winds of the north, hummingbird, ancient ones. Come, mother sister, and teach us to sip only of the sweetest nectar of life. Teach us also of stillness in flight, and show us how to make the impossible journey. Gray hairs, ancient ones, members of our lineage, slip through the curtain of time and be with us here today. We honor all of you, those who have come before, those who are here now, and those who have yet to come. Thank you for being here to guide us with your wisdom and knowledge. Hope. Winds of the north blow through us now. Now we face east. To the winds of the east, eagle, condor, come, brother, sister, from your home high in the Apus in the land of the rising sun. Lend us your unique vision so that we may see the mountains we only dare dream of. Nudge us from the nest, mother, sister, so that we may one day fly with you, wing to the Great Spirit. Winds of the east blow through us now. Ho! And now we touch the earth. Great Mother, Pachamama, we come to you for healing because we know as we heal ourselves, we heal our world. We honor all our relations, the stone people, the plant people, the two-legged, the four-legged, the winged, the furred, the clawed, the finned, the feathered, the creepy crawlers. Thank you for being the great mother who provides for our every need. Hope. And now we look heavenward and we lift our arms. Father Sky, Grandmother Moon, Star Nations, shine your light and love and energy down upon us. You who are known by 1,000 names, yet remain nameless. Thank you for showing us our place in this great journey of life. Hope. Now, while you're holding your intention, I want you to just let your heart open. And as you feel that opening, let that all be directed towards the Earth Mother. Send your love to the earth. And as you send that love downward, just pause a moment and you'll feel the love return back to you. Now, while you're in that connection with Mother Earth, also feel yourself expanding skyward, opening and expanding as broad as the sky and as wide as the universe. This is the creative force, and we are part of that. We are the link between earth and heaven. We are the possibilities now. And in this moment, all things are possible. Feel that connection. Feel your connection to Mother Earth, Father Sky, the great creator. And allow your intention to flow out into the universe. No effort, no need. Everything you desire will come to you. And now, take a moment, come back into your body, and return renewed and confident that your intentions will be answered.
Thank you for that. That was wonderful.
You're more than welcome.
Are you ready to try some readings with your pendulum?
Absolutely. I'm all ready.
All right. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have 5. I think we have about 5 people. And so we're just going to keep them relevant to, just to keep them relevant to what we're doing in spirit. So let's start out with Ashish. And Ashish is from California.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Yes. Hi. What can we do for you today?
I have a question for myself, and my name is Swati.
Okay. I'm sorry I said that wrong.
No, that's fine.
Yes. What is your question?
I'm looking for a job for like a long time, so I don't know when could that happen.
Well, hopefully you put your intention during that meditation for that job. Did you think about that while that meditation was going on?
No.
That's what that meditation was for bringing things to you. So,
within a shamanistic practice, Rashid, the intention is the absolute most important component to instituting a change in your life. It's a big lesson that I continue to learn, is always to set a clear intention. And if you place that intention at the forefront of your mind and your heart and really feel how great it feels to have that wonderful job that you want. Do you know what kind of job would be an ideal position for you?
I'm looking something in computer software.
Okay, great. So what I have done before is actually create a business card that is your dream job business card. And it's a wonderful way to vision board almost. You create the dream job before the job exists, and the job will follow.
do you have a business card?
No.
Have you created? No? Maybe that's something that you need. Maybe that's something that you should do, so that, professional people have to have professional, those little things count. And I know that even just as a psychic advisor, I always carry a card with me wherever I go, because it makes people take you serious. So that would put your job application into that much more focus, as well as what Suzanne said. I have to be honest with you. I feel that you will get a job, and a lot of it, again, is going to be not freaking out because that you feel that you cannot. Because I can tell you most honestly that every time that I freak out or have an anxiety attack about something not being in my life, it always gets worse. So what do you have to say about that, Suzanne?
I would totally agree with that. You start to become focused on the not having, and that actually has an energy of its own, not having. It's not negative, but when you think about how you feel, when you think about, I have a job and you feel good when you have a job and you feel productive and that you're playing your role in the world, right, Rashid?
Yeah.
Right. And
relaxed.
But when you think about not having the job, how do you feel just emotionally and physically?
Yeah, that definitely.
Yeah. It's almost heavy, when you're more thinking of the things that will not bring you the development and the joy that you're seeking. So try to stay where you are actually emotionally experiencing a lightness within you. And like Anne-Marie said, don't freak out. Don't keep thinking, I don't have a job, I don't have this, I don't have that. Just, I do not, at this time, I'm not employed, but the perfect job is waiting for me. And I know I will find it when the time is right.
Yeah, and I do definitely. I want to say also that on the 5th month, which would be May, I show a job for you. And that job seems to be something that will come into your life and make you feel that sense of relief and relaxation. And that marks a chapter in your life where a lot of the anxiety is gone. So we'll have to leave here at this, and I hope that you were able to kind of pick up some spiritual tips on bringing a job into your life. And thank you for asking that question, because there's many other out there going through the same thing.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. We have a question from Cindy, who is from Canada. Cindy says, hello, my daughter, Ellis, is when she was 3 years old or younger, she used to ask me, Mommy, are we safe and sound? All the time, is this something to do with a past life? Can you tell me a bit about this? Thanks so much. The factor being that children have this almost strange quirks in their life that they become afraid of. My grandson, it was sand, and I would look at him with his horror and his about sand, and I would think, what on earth did happen in his life or past life that he would actually be so terrified of sand? Was it a war? But anyway, what can a parent do to help a child through those kind of quirky little things? Can you think of anything spiritually?
I think first and foremost is, first of all, to recognize that there is an energetic component that perhaps as adults we're not as sensitive to. Children are amazing because, they are still open and aware that and sensitive to the unseen forces that are in our everyday life. Now, I did a little checking with my pendulum for Cindy and Ellis while we were talking to see if it was perhaps past life, because that is a very real possibility. We all can carry imprints from past lives into our current life. And one of the wonderful things about shamanic practice is that there are very effective ways of releasing past life imprints. It's works on an energetic level, and without being able to describe it completely over the radio, but it's essentially an immediate removal of the imprint. And of course, many of us have lived thousands and thousands of lives over and over again. So we have lots of imprints that could be traveling with us. The other thing that Ellis might be experiencing is actually another energetic energy or entity around her. Now, that's not to say, it's a demon that's going to, try to inhabit her or something like that. But sometimes there are, souls who have not yet passed over, and kids can be aware of that. So a really great way for children to be protected, and this is something a parent can also help with, is to actually have the child imagine a bubble, a transparent bubble that circles them completely and lets everything good in, everything light and love to pass through, and it holds out anything that is not to their benefit, and it protects them. You may want to actually use a visual. I had a nephew who had some disturbing dreams for quite a while when he was young, and he used to imagine a policeman coming into his dream and making the bad things in the dream go away, and it worked. It has to be something that works for the child, but a parent can help with that, and just acknowledging that they are sensing something is often really helpful. But the bubble idea is kind of what we call a shield, an energetic shield, and
Yes.
Anybody, child or adult, can actually strengthen and consciously protect themselves with their energetic shield.
Wonderful. Yes, and I love that kind of visualization. I do want to say something, though, that I saw in the cards about her past life feeling. And I do also want to say that someone had just called me the other day about her children. One was experiencing voices and a sense of the bed shaking. And she was, and they live in a house that they say there's a lot of orbs. Well, I said, are you living next to a electrical power source? Because they say that when you live energy is electricity.
Mm-hmm.
And when you live next to like a huge electrical box, for the city, or something to do with the city with a huge amount of electricity running through it, it tends to attract more energy. But also, she was between me and her daughter talking, and I said, I don't know why, but I feel there's no, some kind of component with the city. And she says, well, let me talk to her. And she goes, she can't talk now. They're fixing the water line next to the water tower next to the house. And I said, does that tell you anything? And she says, there's a lot of trees next to the house. And I said, well, trees are like conductors. The roots act like a stereo system. So if there's a lot of trees next to her bedroom, and the fact that, if the water main is not working right, then it's probably creating an earthquake type feeling with the bed shaking. And it also, whenever there's an electrical power source, it's been scientifically proven to create a sense of uneasiness, bad dreams, and a sense of negativity. So you might want to also check to see if there is any large electrical units close by. And also, I do want to say the brief little reading on that was that if I were to look at past life, it shows part of her frustration is she was in a life where she was constantly having her dreams taken away from her. When she was a dreamer, she was a visionary, but for whatever reason that she was a victim of circumstances in another life where she lost the power to be able to create her visions into reality because of war or because of whatever else was going on. So she may be feeling a little bit of that, but also check to see about that electrical unit or anything like that close by. Okay, we have Renee from Pennsylvania. Hey, Renee. Renee.
Okay. Yes, hi. How are you doing, both?
Very, very good. What question do you have for Suzanne?
I asked about when will my shamanic guide present him or herself in spirit to me to help me with my work?
And when will they do that? Is that your question, Renee?
Well, they start appearing. I know I have to do work on myself, but around when? Latter part of this year, beginning of next, that I'll know they're
honey,
here?
Please first know that time is elastic. It doesn't even exist. So when you ask a reader for a time frame, you're asking for the most shallow kind of reading. And if you're into spirit, then you probably should know that time is a very fluid and elastic passage. So perhaps maybe the question is, what can you do to bring that essence closer to you?
Right. And how will I recognize that it's the correct one? That sounds good.
Okay. Well, Renee, I think Anne Marie touched very well on the time frame thing. What are you expecting to see might be the first thing to ask, because not always do our spiritual guides come in the form of a vision. Many people, I think I work with a lot of healers who see everything, but with my own personal experience, I oftentimes do not see. I sense, or I hear something, or I just know it. I don't even know. It just is a sense of knowing that comes to you sometimes. That said, dropping the expectation is probably the biggest component to assist you. And do you do shamanic journeying, Renee?
I did it a few times.
Well, I have a wonderful resource to recommend for you. I found it to be just a wonderful guide with journeying. Shamanic journeying is a way of connecting with our guides and receiving answers to everything from spiritual questions to some of those practical questions that Annie and I were talking about earlier. The name of the resource, Sandra Ingerman, Ingerman. She has been a shamanic practice person for a number of years, and she has a wonderful book that's called Shamanic Journeying, A Beginner's Guide. And she just has a very down-to-earth approach of explaining how to journey, what to expect, and it comes down to, don't make it too crazy, and practice. And the more you engage, the more likely the spiritual forces are to know that you are serious and that they are willing to show themselves. But be aware that they may not come in the form of a vision. They may come in the form of a sound or a feeling or even a smell.
Yes.
And realizing that every person tunes into a different frequency, just like we all like different kinds of music and change that knob on the radio dial until we find the right one that makes us feel good. The same with readers. Every reader reads connected to a different frequency. And the feeling is, I am like Suzanne. I experience a knowing. I also experience an inner frequency. It gets high-pitched when I'm searching for an answer, and it gets very, very, very low when I'm getting warm and I've found what I'm searching for. So for me, I have tuned into sound with inner sounds, not out sounds, but inner frequencies, and also the sense of, do I feel heavy in my feet? That is telling me I'm off track. Or do I feel bubbles? That's a feeling that I'm getting connected. So understand, meeting spirit is about like learning how to play pool. You just can't learn pool overnight. And you just can't learn how to be a shaman overnight either. And you can't learn to be psychic overnight with a tarot book, or, you have to practice. And it takes more than 2 or 3 times to play pool, and it takes more than 2 or 3 times to learn to be connected with your intuition.
Yes, I know. I practice table when I play pool. And Sandra Ingerman, I have her book on Mother Earth. I never got her journey. I couldn't go to her classes years ago, but I'm hoping I'll be able to soon.
Oh, great. That's wonderful.
Well, we sure wish you a happy journey with that then. You're going to do it. You sound like a strong woman.
Yeah, good luck, Renee. I can't wait to hear how it goes.
Give us a call or something later on. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. We have Risa from Iowa. Hello, Risa. How do you say your name? Hello? Hello, Risa? Hello, Risa? Miss Iowa? Okay, we'll go on. So the main thing I want to remember to tell everybody is that our guest today is talking about practical shamanism, and that we are talking about not the magic and the drugs and the bones and things like that may be more related to teachings of Don Juan, which both Suzanne and I love, but not the book. But I think that this is all about what are the other things that you use it for? You listed a few things.
Oh, yes. I actually use it a lot when I'm working with personal relationships. I know everybody out there has had a day where they had an argument with somebody, or something just didn't go right on a relationship level, and you almost feel like you've been slimed afterwards. And sometimes you have been energetically slimed. So there's a wonderful tool which sort of helps reset your chakras. And when we have a relationship with somebody, in the shamanic description, we actually create energetic cords or channels between each other, just in dealing with each other. It's one of the ways we communicate. And sometimes those cords stay attached to us even after the person is no longer physically present. And depending on
like a lingering note on a piano.
Absolutely, except it's almost more of a flow, a river flow, or a string. I think chord is a really great way to describe it, because it's like there's a tie still between you, and that tie may pull, or you might be pulling on somebody else. So a very easy practice that all of your listeners can do themselves is called cutting cords. And what this does is it helps separate that energetic pull on you. Now, it does in no way cut love relationships or any emotional bonds. It's just simply a release of those energetic cords. And the way to do that is imagine your hands as little knives or something to cut something, like a karate chop. And you start at your crown chakra, and just pass your hands in front of your crown chakra, down in front of your face, down, 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 all the way down to your base chakra. And as you pass your hands in front of you, you just state to yourself, I cut these cords with unconditional love. I cut these cords with compassion. I cut these cords with understanding. And what you do then is you release the person who you were energetically tied to. If it was an unpleasant experience, it almost immediately lightens the feeling inside of you. I do this many, many times in a day. I also, if I'm working with clients, it's really a wise move for all you bodywork practitioners or energetic practitioners to cut those cords with clients at the end of a session, because we all know that sometimes it can be, you can feel like you're walking around with the other person's symptoms, and this will release those also.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a great, very handy, easy to do, practical, thing that I just have picked up and use almost every day.
And people always ask me, how can I forget somebody that I love, but I can't seem to move on from? So that would be something that they could use as well.
That's definitely something they can use. You just try it the next time you have maybe a conversation that doesn't go so well. You cut the cords, you leave it behind, and it really seems to make the next encounter with that person come back to an even footing too, rather than kind of dragging along all the stuff that happened the last time. So I really recommend that.
You know what? I'd love to end this show with the drumming.
Oh, wonderful. That sounds great.
So why don't you tell everybody how to get hold of you one more time if you want more information with Suzanne on practical shamanism. Where can they get hold of you again?
They can reach me at suzefree@yahoo.com. That's Suz, S-U-Z, the word free, F-R-E-E, at yahoo.com. And what I'd like to do... Yeah, one thing as you close with the drumming, Annie, I'd like to just leave everybody with a saying that the Quero shamans have always professed, and it's sort of a blessing and a little bit of advice at the same time. So I'll do that and say goodbye, and thank you so much for having me on your show.
Loved having you.
Okay. Follow your own footsteps. Learn from the rivers, the trees, and the rocks. Honor the Christ, the Buddha, your brothers and your sisters. Honor the Earth Mother and the Great Spirit. Honor yourself and all of creation. Look with the eyes of your soul and engage the essential.
psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is achieveradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/achieveradio.
Hi, I'm Anne-Marie Odell at Achieve Radio's Tarot Joy. Come on upstairs. Grab yourself a tapestried pillow and get a down-home, honest reading with 30 years Master Tarot channeling experience. In addition, I will have a weekly spiritual guest from around the world. That's 2 readings per call for you. After the show, I invite you to come on over to thecallingoflight.com. I offer PayPal readings at 15-minute or 30-minute sections of time. All yours. To thecallingoflight.com.